did go to trial. There was actually 2 charges. They did go to trial, and Mr. Deane was convicted of having an open house party. Also, in line with that, he was also charged at the time with giving alcohol to a minor, which he was not convicted of, but that takes a preponderance of evidence, which we don't have to hold ourselves to that high of a standard for our evidentiary value in these cases.
Sure, you mean beyond a reasonable doubt for the criminal charge?
Without a reasonable doubt for criminal.
Okay, sorry. Sorry.
That was part of it. The next part was well, the use of the David. That was another major issue. David is our driver's license information we get from the state of Florida, which is severely restricted under law as to how it can be used, and which our employees are trained in, about not being able to use it for any kind of personal use, just business use, in which Mr. Deane looked up the minors, the one minor's information on for no criminal purpose. Just look it up. And that is a situation there to where we can be fined, and I believe it's $2,500 per instance, plus our David privileges, plus the individual himself can be fined for the same thing. And that was a part of it right there.
Did that fall under, just for clarity's sake, Sheriff, did that fall under 86-453 subsection 3, where it says willful misuse on the front of the first page, sir? Sure, first page on the bottom?
Okay.
Where it talks about willful misuse of county property, is that what that was referring to?
That would be that, yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am. And also, there's major sanctions, and this is going on throughout the state. We have seen where there have been different agencies that have been sued. Big money settlements, big money suits in reference to this.
For improper use of David?
Improper use of David.
Okay. How about the texting while driving?
Texting while driving, we have a policy against that, and the reason for that is the dangers involved. And Mr. Deane was found to be driving on our AVL automatic vehicle locator at over 70 miles an hour with a prisoner in the car on a 2-lane highway. And he was actually texting the same individual that he looked up in David. And this was turned out to be in reference to a case where there was some domestic abuse indicated by her, in which they were texting back and forth on. So that was that, and which also something that happened would put us in severe liability, but it is against policy and procedures to be texting while driving. Failure to follow directive order, basically. Supposed to follow all directives, and Mr. Deane, although he was correct in making sure that this alleged domestic violence was investigated, he personally put himself in the middle of it with somebody that he was more than casually acquainted to, which is against our policies and procedures. He should have handed this off to somebody else, because here's the same person that he looked up in David, the same person he had invited to a party at his house and served alcohol to as a minor. Now he's personally asserting himself into this issue of domestic violence, which that should have been, his supervisor should have been told the whole situation, the whole case, so that he could have taken and had somebody else follow up on this. Instead, Mr. Deane basically did it for himself, did not document the fact of that this individual failed to would not give a statement, nor did they take the statements from the defendant as they were supposed to. And at the present time, we've been notified that, that he may sue us over this.
Sheriff, I noticed that, again, I want to just go back to the first page in each violation, the misdemeanor injuries to the department. It says at the end of that one, the violation is subject to dismissal. What does it mean when it says that? It's subject to dismissal for a violation.
They can range anywhere from a verbal reprimand up to dismissal. Verbal reprimand, written reprimand, or verbal reprimand, counseling, written reprimand, suspension, or dismissal. It can range from any of those through the whole range.
And what factor, is that up to your discretion?
That is up to my discretion, yes it is.
What factors play into your decision-making on whether someone should be suspended for something or terminated?
Well, it can be, you look at a little bit of everything. I take it very seriously, and before I take any final action, I actually sit down and read the people's personnel files and go all the way through to see what am I missing, or what am I, what may play into it. I also, during this time, when I'm in the process of getting information, we have a staff meeting where I ask everybody's input all the way around to find out, so that you find out there's other mitigating factors involved in, you know, what they've done, what they haven't done. I also do that, and I take it very, very seriously, because you're dealing with a person's future. You're dealing with, you know, their livelihood, their life, and so you take all this into account. Their evaluations, how they done that, prior discipline, and how much and how serious is the current offense.
So do you get, in that meeting that you're referring to, do you get input from, say, maybe their division commander or their major or their captain, that kind of thing, to see what, if there's any other factors to affect your decision?
I take into account from my whole staff, and normally their supervisor, captain, and their division major, my civilian personnel. It's my whole staff that I take it from. I take this in, and then I go back with this input, and I sit down and decide what I think the proper punishment should be.
In this particular case, was it significant to you that Mr. Deane had committed 2 misdemeanor offenses when he served alcohol, 2 minors, and allowed them to drink in his house?
Yes, ma'am, and not only that, there was also another issue involved with this too, where beer pong was played on his patrol car, and a picture of that, this is when this got started, somebody sent us a picture of beer pong, which I'm not real familiar with the game. I guess, you know, you put, you know, I know the cups of beer were on the hood, and I guess you bounce the ping pong ball and try to bounce it into the cup, but that was also, you know, where we first got started was a picture of his patrol car, which I might add, he told another deputy that, well, there's no property number on it, so they can't tell whose car it was. So they were trying to, you know, little bit of, let's just put shadiness there. But anyway, you know, you have that open party where you have the Volusia County Sheriff's Office car with them playing bear pong. You have the fact that he is contributing to the delinquency of a minor who they left in a car. Now, they may have been driven by a 21-year-old, but they still left in a car. You have the misuse of David, which could have taken and jeopardized the Volusia County Sheriff's Office's ability to use the David, you know, to be able to participate with that with the state, and also could have cost us money. You had the problem that he was driving and texting while he was driving over the stated speed limit with a prisoner in his car on a road that is noted for head-on collisions. You know, you take and put all the different things that we talked about together, and any single thing there would not have created this termination in this incident, honestly. You know, I don't believe I've gotten there with any single incident, but when you put all of this together, now you have an overall picture that it rated the termination.
That's all I have, sir. Thank you.
I would say good morning, good afternoon, Sheriff. How are you? Good. I'll try not to take up too much of your time. Now, trying to read my chicken scratch notes. Okay. So you expect your deputies to be a step above, to show integrity in all situations, yes?
Yes, sir.
To maintain a cool temper both on and off duty. Yes. And you expect them to abide by all laws, whether they be federal, state, or local.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you stated that it was your belief that Mr. Deane and Ms. Capps, the 18-year-old, were more than personally acquainted. What information do you have to suggest they were more than casually acquainted?
One thing is their text messaging back and forth down to the point of where he's referring to her as wife and she's referring to him as hubby.
Did you read in the IA statements, sir, that both Mr. Deane and Ms. Capps considered that to be just joking?
Maybe just joking, but it shows more than a casual knowledge. And I know they're really not husband and wife, but you asked me the question, it shows more than a casual knowledge between the two. Also, she's waitress in the Pearson area, which almost nightly when he was working, he would have contact with her, and I invited her to a party at his house where he introduced to everybody there, so that's more than a casual relationship.
You're not suggesting it's not a sexual relationship?
No, sir.
Are you suggesting there was a friendship?
There'd be a friendship there of some sort.
Okay, anything more than a friendship?
Can't tell you how much more, but I know it's more than just a casual, it wasn't just casual who they are, they know more than that.
You're basing that upon their joking reference to each other's hubby and wifey?
Yes, sir, and the other contact.
And the fact that she had been to his house on one occasion?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have people to your house, sir?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right. Are they more than just friends to you?
Some are, some aren't.
Okay, so some are, okay. Now, you said the supervisor, you're referring to Sergeant McGuire, should have been told the whole story, correct?
Yes, sir.
You're aware that Deputy Deane, before he took any action, specifically went to Sergeant McGuire and said, look, I may have a conflict of interest, right?
I'm not sure if I remember that or not, I can't recall.
You remember being told, either reading it in the IA or being told by Sergeant Tatum that Deputy Deane, before any action was taken against Stephen DeHutt, Kelly Capps' boyfriend, the one that was arrested?
Yeah, yes, sir, I believe I do remember that he did mention that he knew something, yes, sir.
And do you remember Deputy Deane, in your readings or in your discussions with Sergeant Tatum, Deputy Deane, you being told that Deputy Deane went to Sergeant McGuire, presenting him with what he thought was a conflict of interest?
That he knew her, yes, that he knew her.
But do you remember him, in your readings or in your conversations with Sergeant Tatum, him telling you or you reading that Deputy Deane went to Sergeant McGuire about a quote-unquote conflict of interest that he thought might exist?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So he took the initiative and went to Sergeant McGuire?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, he could have just done nothing, couldn't he?
Yes, he could have done nothing.
Okay, so he could have easily just filled out the charging affidavit and had Mr. Deane, Mr. DeHutt arrested himself, correct?
Yes, sir.
But he chose not to do that. He chose to go to a sergeant for guidance. Is that right? That's your recollection?
Yes, sir.